The shuttle hurtled through a sector of space known only to a select few in the galactic hierarchy, a path flanked by silent, omniscient sensor buoys that blinked blue every few hundred kilometers, following any vessel's slightest deviation. Most ships avoided this region, rumors warning of cloaked mines and defensive systems that would disintegrate intruders in seconds. But for Captain Alaric Lockjaw Thorn, the choice to enter this place was as clear as the scar slashed down his left cheek. Alaric scanned his datapad, eyes narrowed, reading encrypted communiques about a new regime on the Frintaxian Council. The Frintaxians, an alien species known for their keen intellect and merciless politics, held sway over key planets in the Zeta Quadrant. The Council was supposed to uphold galactic law, yet whispers suggested the Frintaxian elites were manipulating interplanetary trade, siphoning wealth, and orchestrating conflicts to maintain power. It had taken Alaric nearly 5 years of relentless infiltration to get close enough to expose their corruption, and tonight he was finally ready to make his move. The Frintaxian elites, heavily guarded by automated drones and fearsome battle-suited guards, weren't accustomed to an outsider breaching their circle. But they hadn't encountered someone like Alaric Thorn before, an ex-Terran special operations spy, known for his unbreakable will and an uncanny ability to disappear into thin air. He'd earned the nickname Lockjaw for a reason. Once he latched onto a mission, he never let go. Alaric's fingers tapped on the side of his earpiece. "Boss, you copy?" Loud and clear, Voss responded, his voice low and steely. Captain Julian Voss was Alaric's handler, and one of the only men he trusted. A giant of a man, with scars mapping his face from countless battles, Voss was a legend among the Terran Special Operations. He would act as Alaric's only backup, a tactical expert, monitoring Alaric's every move from an undisclosed location aboard a covert Terran intelligence vessel. "Once you're inside, transmit the data, and I'll handle the broadcast," Voss continued, his voice measured. "You've got a narrow window before the Frintaxian overseers notice anything's amiss. You pull this off, and we'll start a chain reaction that'll bring the whole council down." Alaric grinned, his eyes gleaming with anticipation. He'd been in tighter spots, but nothing had ever been this high stakes. "Let's shake up the galaxy," he replied, and powered down his comms to stealth mode. The opulent Frintaxian palace loomed ahead, a structure of shimmering green metal that refracted the starlight, making it seem to pulse with an ethereal glow. Alaric adjusted the sleek armor he wore, a specialized suit embedded with camouflage tech stolen from the Frintaxian black markets. His mission: slip in undetected, hack into the Council's mainframe, and leak irrefutable proof of corruption to every allied planet across the galaxy. Alaric's breath came slow and steady as he neared the gates, his mind laser-focused. He activated the cloak on his suit, and his figure shimmered, blending with the darkness. He slipped through a narrow service corridor near the docking bay, his boots barely making a sound on the polished floors. Inside, the palace was a blend of alien and luxury walls, lined with crystalline growths that emitted a faint hum, alien murals depicting Frintaxian ancestors and victories. Alaric had little patience for their self-aggrandizing display, his focus solely on the task ahead. He reached the first security checkpoint, nodding with approval as he observed the patterns of the Frintaxian guards. They were precise, predictable. Moving with the honed instincts of a predator, he timed his steps perfectly, slipping past as one guard turned his back. He slid through the door, pressing a microcharge against the lock, readying his escape route. Once inside the data core, things would move fast. Alaric entered the data core's command room, a circular chamber filled with translucent control panels. Alien glyphs flickered across the screens, but Alaric's neural implant allowed him to decipher the Frintaxian language with ease. His fingers flew across the control panel, deactivating security subroutines and bypassing firewalls. The room's central column glowed as he hacked deeper, gaining access to restricted files. His pulse quickened as he found what he was looking for: data logs, encrypted messages, and financial records that painted a horrifying picture of betrayal. A message popped up on his HUD. "Voss status?" Alaric grinned. "Got what we need," he whispered, initiating upload. The files transferred into the encrypted Terran database, ready for Voss to broadcast to every allied world. This data dump would shatter the image of Frintaxian purity and expose their corrupt core to the galaxy. Just as Alaric completed the transfer, the door slid open with a hiss. A hulking figure stepped inside, towering and clad in metallic armor that glowed faintly with the iridescent sheen of Frintaxian tech. Overseer Marik, a Frintaxian enforcer and one of the Council's most ruthless defenders, stared at Alaric through narrowed eyes. "I knew you were too good to be true, human," Marik sneered, his voice a guttural rasp. Alaric clenched his fists, adrenaline flooding his veins. His cover was blown, but his mission wasn't over. He'd come this far, he wasn't going to let one oversized alien end him. Marik stepped forward, his claws extending as he activated a plasma blade that buzzed with lethal energy. You think you can bring down our empire? Pathetic. You're just a speck of nobody. Alaric's lips twisted into a smirk. Then let's see how you fare against a speck with a mission. The two clashed with explosive energy. Alaric's suit barely absorbed the heat as Marik's blade grazed his arm, leaving a searing line of burnt armor. Alaric countered with a quick thrust, his hidden vibroblade slicing through Marik's armor in a burst of sparks. Marik roared, swinging wildly, but Alaric was already moving, dodging and weaving with practiced precision. You're outmatched. Marik snarled, his voice tinged with desperation as Alaric's strikes grew sharper faster. Maybe, Alaric replied, his voice ice cold, but I'm not out of options. With a calculated kick, he sent Marik stumbling back, and in a fluid motion, Alaric activated the microcharge he planted at the entrance. The door exploded, and the blast force knocked Marik to the ground. Alaric lunged forward, pressing his blade to Marik's throat. Your council's reign is over, Alaric said, his voice low and deadly. Tell them it was a human who did this. He deactivated the blade, leaving Marik humiliated and alive, his message clear. Then, without a backward glance, Alaric disappeared into the smoke-filled corridor, his exit route set. Back on the Terran vessel, Alaric watched the broadcast unfold. Screens across the galactic networks displayed the damning evidence, broadcasted to every major planetary system, igniting a firestorm of reactions. Allied worlds erupted in fury, and protests broke out on Frintaxian planets as citizens demanded accountability. Alaric felt the weight of satisfaction settle over him as he watched the Frintaxian Empire crumble. The galaxy, once shrouded in darkness and deceit, would now have a chance to rebuild. Voss appeared beside him, nodding in approval. The galaxy owes you one, Alaric. You've done more in a single night than 1,000 soldiers could have done in a lifetime. Alaric gave a slight smile, his eyes glinting with satisfaction. All in a day's work, Captain. All in a day's work.